A KXAN investigation tonight where some say big corporations are taking advantage of a law meant to help Texas farmers and ranchers.
Oftentimes these corporations pay pennies on the dollar when it comes to their property taxes, and critics say valuable tax revenues are lost because of it. Our lead investigator Chris Willis is here live with new details on this. Chris?
Robert, good evening to you. It's called an agriculture special valuation. Some call it an ag exemption. And it's a state law designed to keep farmers and ranchers from essentially getting taxed out of their farmland. But as we found out, large corporations are now getting in on the ag valuation to save tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in property taxes every year.
What we do out here is try to produce something to satisfy people's needs.
Farming and ranching in Central Texas is oftentimes at the mercy of Mother Nature, but farming is also at the mercy of county property taxes. And that's why Texas allows a special agriculture designation to the state's farmers and ranchers to prevent them from being taxed out of their farmland. It's a state law enacted in 1966.
It's actually in the Texas Constitution. It's Article 8 of the Texas Constitution gets into ag valuations.
Alvin Langford is the chief appraiser in Williamson County, where 74% of the land has a special agriculture valuation. Property taxes are paid on the agricultural productivity of the land, not the market value. Meaning farmers and ranchers pay property taxes on what they produce, not what the land is worth.
Well, that's mostly Bermuda right there.
It's a godsend to ranchers like Larry Mellenbrook.
I could not net enough out of this operation to probably pay the taxes that are assigned to it at its market value right now.
When the Circuit of the Americas built its racetrack on its land in Elroy, it kept nearly 600 acres designed with an agriculture valuation. Circuit of the Americas says the land is not part of its sports and entertainment venue and does not produce any revenue. Instead, it gets a special agriculture valuation because it's a wildlife habitat for birds. Kathy Olive is a goat rancher.
Okay, girls.
Who lives directly across the street from the F1 property. We asked her for her opinion. Do several species of birds live on that land?
When they brought the bulldozers in and cleared it, the wildlife left. There is no wildlife over there anymore.
And while that land may not produce revenue, the ag designation does produce savings. The property taxes on that land would be $171,000 at market value, but with their wildlife ag designation, Circuit of the Americas will only pay about $1,500. That's a difference of nearly $170,000 every year.
Businesses ought to be welcome to come to Texas and carry their fair share.
Bill Alishire is the former tax collector in Travis County. His opinion, these corporate tax breaks are simply not fair.
When you see these tricks used with what is otherwise a good exemption to have available, I can understand how taxpayers get mad about it.
Circuit of the Americas met the requirements with bird feeders, water troughs, and predator control. But that was in January, and the designation can change.
We're definitely going to be out there towards the end of this year.
Paul Snyder is the deputy chief appraiser in Travis County. His appraisers check these properties every year. About 38% of all the land in Travis County receives an agriculture valuation. Snyder says they monitor how the land is used and not who owns it.
Our mission is to make sure the land qualifies and not the owner. We are looking at the land exclusively.
And so is KXAN. Our investigation found a lot of big businesses getting huge tax breaks because of their ag valuation. According to the records provided by the appraisal district, Dell has a total of 264 acres on 6 properties with an ag valuation. Property taxes on that market value would be a little more than $382,000. Dell pays just $1,088 in property taxes, and that's a difference of $381,000. This is one of those Dell properties, about 65 acres here along Lewis-Henna Boulevard. It is directly across the street from the main Dell campus. Property taxes on the market value of this land would cost Dell about $85,000 a year. But because they have a special ag designation, Dell only pays $219. Dell sent us this statement saying the property across from our main campus has been leased as agriculture land for grazing cattle since 2008.
I haven't seen a Dell steak lately.
Dell leases its undeveloped land to farmers who drop their cattle on it to graze, and that makes it agricultural land, and that's not uncommon.
It's actually much easier for corporations who are not in the business of producing ag.
To qualify for an ag valuation, the property must have at least 4 animals and has to be the primary use of the property. And if a property with an ag valuation changes its use, the owner is required to pay 5 years of a rollback tax, which is the difference between the ag value and the market value, along with 7% interest. And that brings us to Austin White Lime, quarrying limestone for more than 117 years. Austin White Lime has more than 3,400 acres of ag-valued land. Property taxes would put $741,500 on the tax rolls, but because it is ag designated, as we found out with these cows roaming near McNeil Road, Austin White Lime only pays about $2,600. And that's a difference of nearly $739,000. The company responded by saying they would not comment.
You want to use them right, and there is some abuse out there, there's no question, but it's a tough thing to struggle with.
All right, again, what these businesses are doing is completely legal. It's state law, and it's up to the legislature to make any changes in the law. We sent the information in our story to several lawmakers, including members of the House Appropriations and the House Ways and Means Committee. We'll follow up with their response as soon as we hear back. We're in the studio tonight and we're live. Chris Willis, KXAN News.
Chris, thank you so much. And we have some more examples, including another major company in Austin that gets these tax breaks, Samsung.
You can just go to our website, KXAN.com, to see those and the entire listing of landowners receiving these special tax breaks in Travis and Williamson counties. And if you have a story for KXAN to investigate, send us an email at investigates@KXAN.com or call us at 512-703-5213.